How's it going, everyone? My name is DrapPep. Welcome back to another installment of this series. I have made a couple of videos talking about how I was in the Boy Scouts, and a lot of my friends know of the Boy Scouts, but they don't really know anything about them. And I have so many stories of being in the Boy Scouts. I was in it when I was a kid, but my mom was worried that once I became an Eagle Scout, that I would, wander away and get lost in the woods. Because once you get to that stage, I think maybe even in, I could be getting this wrong. I think it's Weeblos where you can also go into the camping, but Eagle Scouts you were definitely expected to go camping. And I was coming up to that age, and my mom, rightfully so, because I did in fact have an act of wandering away, and she was worried that I would do that. And one of the memories I have of being in the Boy Scouts is we had like this outing. It was like some kind of festival, some kind of competition. I don't remember. All I know is that we had to go there, and the troop leader looked at us and was like, "Okay, well, it's game time. All right, we have to like show what we know." We were in to win it. All right, Bat Squadron was ready. That was the name of our troop, Bat Squadron. And so we went in, and like it was kind of like, "Can you remember everything under the blanket? Now write down everything you remember." We were like the underdogs of this competition. We sucked at everything, so we cheated. We definitely cheated to get the results that we needed. And one of them was like you had to build a ladder with like some sticks and rope, and you had to like make sure it was on there. I was like, "Oh, so what are the rules for this?" It's like, "Oh, as long as you tie a knot and they get up there. That's it. That's the only rules." Like, yeah. So if we hold the sticks, does that count? And the judges like looked at the board and like, "Oh, I guess that counts. There's no rules against you holding the sticks as long as you're not touching the person." We're like, "Oh, we got this." So we all just hold sticks. We tied little bow ties as our knots. We held the sticks and everyone climbed up. Easy peasy. A lot of the other troops were realizing what we were doing, and they're like, "Oh, they're not playing fair. Is there a reward for doing this? Is that what's going on?" And the funny thing is, there was no reward. In fact, there was no competition whatsoever. We just made it into one, and we were winning. We were beating everyone's scores through the act of cheating, to the point where the other people were like, "Oh, well, we gotta pick it up then. We can't let them win." A lot of the parents were like eager because they saw their kids were wanting to participate. They did not realize there was a little gambling thing going on between our troops, because we were getting really noticed. And the other people there who didn't want to be there were kind of like, "I'm sorry, you think you're better than us? No, yo, we're doing this. No, you're not getting away from this." So there was a moment when we were eating hot dogs and s'mores, and it was time for story time, I guess. So I was pretty much eating a lot of these hot dogs, a lot of these s'mores. We were sitting around the campfire. We were enjoying our time, enjoying the festival, whatever it was. I don't even know why we were there. The moment food was brought up, though, I knew why I was there. I don't know why everyone else was here, but those hot dogs are mine. That was probably around maybe the 5th or 6th. It was probably the 10th hot dog. I could really put them down, all right? I'm really good at eating. This is my talent. It's my skill, my superpower. And towards the end, I had overeaten. So I was eating, I was drinking Sprite, trying to settle my stomach because it was very upset. And it was right around the time when it was like, it's time for story time. Everyone gather around. We're going to talk about this legend. And they had brought out a Native American to tell us the legend of the land. And it was really cool. A story I do not remember because I was not listening. My stomach was making some ungodly gargling noises. Just violent, bubbly like a cauldron in my stomach. The s'mores and hot dogs and Sprite were at war with each other inside my gut. And I felt that I needed to fart. No big deal. I was pretty much thinking maybe if I leaned over and do it gently, no one would hear it because it was during a story time. So I leaned over and I'm gonna relieve myself, right? But then the story took a turn. You see, this whole time, while I was not listening, there was a moment in the story where the guy said, if you listen closely, you can still hear the spirits of my ancestor in these lands. It went dead quiet. No one was talking. Everyone stopped making noises all of a sudden. And it was at that very moment that the loudest, hardest fart I had ever ripped ass, like, came out of me at that exact moment. And it was so loud that everyone heard it. It exploded out of me. And everyone, luckily, they thought it was funny. Ha 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 ha. And I thought, okay, cool. No one's going to know it was me. That's what I'm hoping. It was like death. The smell was on a whole other tier, a whole other level of just god awful, that people were backing away from me. Do you realize how hard it is to play dumb? Of like, who is that? When everyone is backing away from you, there's now a circle around me, a void, empty space around me. Because they know exactly who it was, the people nearby. And now everyone else knows. So that is something that is something I legitimately do not ever forget. I think about that moment often. Just the sheer embarrassment in that moment of just sheer horror of what has just happened. Of me going, okay, it's just going to be just a little quiet fart, to all of a sudden, oh no, oh, this is not going to be quiet, is it? It's getting louder. Oh, it's getting louder. And like, as it was keep coming out of me, it wasn't stopping. It was long and it was drawn out. The more I tried making it quieter, the longer it got. So I was like, okay, oh, this is bad. This is bad. All right, I'm just going to push it all out. I'm going to push all of it out and make it fast, end this torment. But pushing it out doesn't make it better. It just makes it louder, like a trumpet. You're making it worse. And I just remembered, God, I really hope that the earth around me opens up and we all just go into a ravine. Just all of us simultaneously into like a crack in the ground, and then swallow us whole, and then nobody can leave and ever tell anyone about this. Everyone, all eyewitnesses to this account, all dead. But here I am, years later, retelling this embarrassing story to everyone. And I've told this story a few times to people, and they all think it's funny. But at that exact moment in time in my life, it wasn't. It was the furthest thing from funny. It was humiliating. But some of the people from off to the distance didn't know where it came from. They didn't know it was me. So as we were walking, the Bat Squadron, we were, joking about it. Some of my friends in the squad were kind of like, dude, are you going to be okay? Did you die over there? It's like, I'm good. But there was other troops who were like, I wonder who that was. And like, that was so disrespectful. And my troop were so supportive. They knew I was so embarrassed by that. They knew that, honestly, how I was just mortified. They knew, all right? I was one of them. They knew to tell every fucking person there it was me. Everyone there. They split up like as if no words were needed. They just split up and just were on a mission to inform everyone who it was. So, as you can tell, sarcasm. They hated me for doing that. Obviously, obviously, there was hatred and awful, awful hatred. But that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.